Everybody has an opportunity. It doesn't matter where you come from or what your condition is. We all have the opportunity. Are diabetics allowed to go into Border Patrol? Absolutely. How do I know this? Because I'm a diabetic myself. I have been going through the hiring process for a while, and one of the toughest points of getting through, one of the toughest steps I've had to go through was the medical itself, because I've had to get everything in line with my blood sugars, as well as my A1C, and important stuff that really mattered, because the medical review officers typically will take a look at stuff like the blood glucose, your A1C, and just a period of time where you've had really good control over it. I mean, obviously, for having control of your sugars and everything else, you don't want it to just be for a short period of time. It should be about longevity, because you want to be able to perform and operate on any given day, any given time, when you're on the job or even at the academy, being able to go through the academy and having control of your glucose readings. That's very important. I talk about this stuff a lot in my fitness content and whatnot. And, even a career like law enforcement, you want to be able to keep everything going for yourself, keep everything stable, keep everything performing efficiently. So that way you're healthy, you're reliable, and you go in, you train, you're good to go. And you can go and move on to your team and your sector, and you're good to go as well. So what gets a lot of people, and this got to me too, was just the constant having to go back and forth, providing documentation, having to provide stuff that they needed, like, well, we need more glucose readings, we need, more stuff on your A1C, we need to see more history and whatnot. They're gonna ask you stuff constantly. They're gonna constantly, ask you to provide the necessary information for them to conduct a review, so that way they can make an approval, right? And if you don't have what you need at that moment, that's something that you kind of go over with your nurse case manager, and then he or she will relay that to the medical review officer, and the review officer can kind of work with you on some stuff. But for the most part, you want to give them everything that they need. You want to be able to, whatever information is relevant to you, you can pass off to them, and then they have something to work with. So that way, essentially the more that you give them, the more that they have to work with, the more that they can work with you. Because I'll tell you what, right? They're not out to be against anybody. They're not out to be unfair. They're not out to discriminate. They don't. Because I've known people who were diabetics at the academy. I've actually talked to other people who were at the academy before and said that as a type 1 diabetic, they've had people in their classes that were also diabetic, and being a diabetic doesn't stop you from going in. And now that was my biggest thing, right? Like way back when I applied, I was very conscious and curious about that. Like, was that something that they discriminate, or not discriminate? Was that something that can disqualify you from the job? And the answer to that has always been no. No. It's never been a problem. I've even talked to recruiters about that, same thing. And then even for the special teams like the Borstar, Bortac, there's never any issues getting in as well. As long as you're able to have control of it, you're able to do your job, and the diabetes does not interfere with your performance and being able to do what you need to do, then it's no problem. So I hope that gives you guys peace of mind. Like, especially if you're a diabetic and you're watching this, or you're trying to get into the Border Patrol Academy or any law enforcement academy, and you're thinking, is this something that's going to stop me? No. In fact, I don't think any agency has any disqualifying issues against diabetes. The only thing is military. I know this because I've tried. I tried to go into the military when I was younger, and that was before I knew that it would be a disqualifying factor. So, and from there, that's pretty much, I started my journey going into law enforcement. So, for you guys that are curious about it, or may know somebody, or you know somebody who is curious and wants to pursue a career in law enforcement, let them know. Come check this video out, or let them know, hey, it doesn't disqualify you. It won't. I mean, and there's even all kinds of like bulletins and stuff, and there's recruiters that will tell you from every agency that diabetes will not disqualify you from going in. At the end of the day, though, you got to be accountable. I need to be accountable. Like, just because we're diabetic and because they say that it doesn't disqualify you from the job, doesn't mean that you get to be a lazy piece of shit, that you get to be fat and lazy and just not do what is required to keep yourself healthy and suitable to do the job to perform. Because at the end of the day, you're going into law enforcement, your ass needs to be in shape. I mean, look at me, right? Look at my videos, look at my content, go to my IG. You'll see that I'm not out of shape. I'm not lazy. I have discipline. I have the ability to perform. So the thing is, I have to hold myself to that standard. Like, and I will say that's one good thing as being a diabetic. Like, it gives you no choice. You have no choice but to get your ass in shape. There's no excuses. I think if you're going to any law enforcement agency, or even let alone the military, get into fucking shape. Like, no exceptions, guys. Like, I'm sorry. I know I'll probably get some back talk for it. I don't care. Listen, say what you want to say. Your ass needs to be in shape. I don't give a damn. You gotta be in shape. Because it's like, what's the point? Like, how are you gonna be able to make an arrest? How are you gonna be able to run? Or how are you gonna be able to chase people down and whatnot? And you can't even walk or run 50 steps without feeling like you're gonna die. It's like, come on, get into shape. Get into shape, you guys. Even as a diabetic, right? Aside from all the law enforcement stuff, if you're a diabetic watching this right now, I encourage you to get in shape. And if you're already in shape, stay in shape. Stay in shape. Get better. I'm still working on it too. Believe me. Like, I'm doing good. Like, I'm not gonna toot my horn on here and be like I'm doing pretty good for myself. And it's just a matter of just maintaining it, keeping it as part of your lifestyle, because fitness is the foundation for everything. That will give you structure, that will give you discipline. It gives you the ability to operate at a different point to where you can, anything is possible, because you work so hard to lose the weight or build the muscle, and now you apply that to your job, to your skill sets. That same energy that you had going into the gym is the same energy you can transfer out of life. So like I said, fitness is a foundation, and fitness has been a part of my life. I've been working out for the last 13 years. I'm about to turn 25 in a few weeks, and it's been a blessing. So take it and run with it. And let it make you better, right? Same thing with diabetes. You're a diabetic. That's something that you've had to deal with and go through. It's adversity that we all have to deal with, including myself. So we find a way to deal with it. We don't make excuses. We find solutions, right? There's always something out there for everybody. So at the end of the day, let this give you guys peace of mind, especially as a diabetic. Please, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to comment below. Feel free to share this one with someone who wants or needs to see this. You know, at the end of the day, I appreciate you all you guys and following along in my journey. You know, blessings.